Hey guys, I know it's been a while. I've had so much happen. So thank you for coming back and checking out the channel. I know, like I said, it's been a while. It's been about 3 weeks since I posted a video. So many things have happened. So we did find a house. So this is really exciting news. There was a lot of changes in my job. There was a lot of changes in our preparedness. There is a lot of changes going on, just overall in our lives right now. And sometimes family has to come first. So thank you for understanding and sticking with us through it. We have a lot of things to show you. The house does close in just a few weeks, so I'm still kind of not in really good places to be recording right now, especially when it's so stinking cold out right now. We have 30 degrees with the wind chill. It's about 15, so I'm a little chilled. But I still wanted to take an opportunity to just discuss a couple of things that have been pretty deep on my mind, especially with everything that's happened in my life recently. So what I really wanted to discuss with you is having a lot of people think rice, beans, and bullets, that's what you need. But it's really not. There's so much more to it. Or some people are those that go out there and they just want to spend, drop 10,000 or whatever on those big buckets of food. Sure, I guess you can do that. But I really feel like if you are going to be a success, regardless if it is a natural disaster, a pandemic, or anything else that's coming up, you just need to have layers. First of all, there's skills that need to be learned. Skills are going to take you over the top. So what I mean by that is, do you know how to do certain things? Like, do you know how to raise animals? Even if you can't, say you live in an apartment building, you can certainly either download material, get the books, or even, I know, I don't want to say just watch videos because there's more to it than that, but maybe you can help out at a local farm or anything. Learn how animals react, learn how to be around them, learn how to butcher them, learn how to feed them. These are really important skills if the need arises, and you can't just get that by sitting on your couch. So also I want to talk about home security. Now is the time, get your security up to date. There is these really great items that you can get, and each of these is something that I feel is very easy to obtain and to put up. They're all on Amazon, and you can set them up at your own home and kind of at least give you some warning if you have an intruder should the stuff go down. Water. Now, I've talked about water before, and having some jugs is great, more than gallons, but also having other means. So do you have water filtration? If the grid goes down, which, by the way, we have attacks all the time. How many people out there had their credit cards or iPhones taken over during the holiday shopping weekend for Thanksgiving? That was a lot. It was nationwide. So if they hack into the infrastructure, that it also includes your power or water lines. Or if by chance the power does go down for an extended amount of time, it does actually back up your water. So if you have city sewer and water, that will become contaminated, and at that point you can't drink it. So it's really important to have other means. You can't just say, well, I'm just going to go down to the creek that flows into the local. You might not be able to. There could be animal feces and whatever else down there. So you really, and there could be other reasons. Like if it's a huge storm, you could have power lines in it. There's so many reasons why you need to have alternate methods, not only of collecting water, preserving water, having it on hand. This kind of leads into the next thing. So if you have food, you may learn to can if you haven't already, and you will need canning jars and lids and all the good stuff to go with it. You're going to want to keep that supplied and on hand. Now, a good way to store your water is just put it in your canning jars until you need them. That way you at least have some water on hand. It's just a simple, easy method. I mean, you're going to put the jars up on your shelf anyway. Might as well fill them up with some water while you got it. And then along with your food, seed saving. You know, if things get really bad, you're going to have to continue on. So you're going to need a way to do that. Learning to garden, learning to can, preserving your seeds. How do you save your... Again, the food reserve goes back into like hunting, butchering. You may not feel comfortable with it, but you at least need to have some idea of how it goes. Sorry, my throat. I've been fighting a sinus infection, allergies, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, so you should really learn how to do that. Sorry, learn how to do that. Even if you cannot do it yourself, at least maybe go watch with somebody so you can get that one-on-one like experience, ask questions. I mean, that's how we all eat, right? Some other skills that it would be really good to know is sewing. Do you know how to mend things? Like if you've got a rip in your pants. I've got a frugal video that talks about mending clothes that you can go back and check out in our frugal tips. Also, just being able to patch up a simple hole would be great if you can learn how to make blankets to help stay warm. All of these things are really valid tips that can definitely help you should it ever go into an extended situation where the more you have a knowledge base and at least a basic know-how, the farther you're going to go than others around you. And then going down into that, like, what about soap making? Like, cleanliness, it's super vital. This is going to help prevent infections and everything else. And let's face it, if we were in a Walking Dead situation, do you think that the amount of gunk that they had on them is clean? You know how many infections and whatnot that people would get from that much filth and dirt? In my mind, I think like watching that movie or that series, every time they went to a house, I'd be looking for clean clothes or baby wipes or something to clean up. That just gross. Also thinking about medical, having a basic knowledge for that. I did have my mother-in-law show us all how to give stitches about a year or so ago. I'll try to post either that up top or in the link below, but she was a head nurse at the hospital until she recently retired, and having that medical advice, there's some other great channels that offer a lot of great medical tips. I would check out Refuge Medical, outstanding company. But they having that knowledge and knowing how to do it, you know, that can literally mean life or death. So having that is really good. But also, what about like medicinal herbs? Like, as you can tell, I'm like all choked up and I tend to get sick, like a really good sinus infection almost twice a year. I make fire cider every year because that does help me so much with all my ailments and whatnot. But being able to maybe grow some medicinal herbs so that you can make tinctures or whatever it is that you need to make is a really easy thing, and it's kind of fun to do as well. You don't need a lot of room for it. In fact, one year I just grew a peppermint plant, and it got huge, and I cut it, and all I did was I poured in the alcohol, soaked the plant for like 4.5 months, drained it, and everybody had fresh peppermint extract at Christmas. It was wonderful. So just think about the little things that you can do now, or at least put the seeds away so that you can maybe have a little bit of further jump than others should the need arise. And then I wanted to go into talking about comms. Now, I realize not everybody's going to go out and get their ham radio license, which would be cool. I said I was going to do it. I moved. I still plan on doing it. I just really need to get into the house and then kind of get established that way. But it's a great thing to have. But if you can't do it, at least getting a receiver will definitely give you the ability to hear what's going on. If, in fact, let's say either your local government or military or somebody was trying to post information, they would certainly put it on there, and that would be a way for you to understand. And if it got really bad, you might hear information about any kind of relief coming. So having some kind of communication, even if you're not responding back, is better than having nothing. So there's so many more ways you can go with this, and once you start thinking about it, you're gonna be like, oh, and what about this, and what about this, and what about this? It's really, really easy to go down a rabbit hole. I'm not asking you to spend thousands of dollars, but if you have to eat anyway, why not grow your own food? Canning, it's a great way to preserve food, and it's a lot healthier and not, full of so much sodium and whatnot. Who's to say that learning to sew, even for guys, that's not a bad skill to learn. Learning how to mend a few things, protecting your family. And then I do want to point out one thing that I think is super, super, super important. No matter if it's 2 people in your household, or you got a whole bunch of kids running around, and you got a massive house, like eight people, let's say. Everybody in your house needs to learn skills. I don't care if they're 2 years old or 80 years old. Everybody needs to learn a skill. A 2-year-old, it's really easy to start bringing them up, learning those things from a very, very early age, exposing them to it. They're like sponges. They soak it all up. The older generation, they can kind of get some of that necessary items done. Like maybe they can help with the mending, or maybe they can help with soap making or anything like that. There's always something that can be learned and taught, but everybody in your house needs to know what the action plan is should something bad happen. So if you had a natural disaster and I know a lot of people do want to stay in place because they have preps, but if you wanted to, let's say, there was a super volcano or a big earthquake or whatever, tornadoes, and you had to vacate. Like, you did not have a choice in the matter. You had to vacate. Where does your family meet up so that you all know where to go? Has that been discussed? That's really important. Or even if you live by yourself, but you check in with your mom, let her know, hey mom, if something bad ever happened, just know I'm just going to go up, wherever. And that way, peace of mind for your loved ones is going to be huge. But being able to discuss it with your family ahead of time, having that plan in place, it really is going to take a lot of that stress off. Because when you are in these situations, it's not like you are like cool, calm, and can think, as you would normally do. It doesn't work like that. The stress level is off the charts. And you can go and look at any data from any scenario, and it will be off the charts. People don't think like they normally would. Your brain is superimposed on other situations. So in order for you to be able to just function as a normal person and trying to make sure everybody's safe, you need to discuss it ahead of time. You need to have plans in place ahead of time. And right now, I think it is better to do it now before it's too late. So I just wanted to give you this food for thought, we'll put it, and really just layer everything you do. Think of, okay, how else can I do this? Is there another way to it? If you're getting food, how else can I prepare with food? If you're in an area where you can grow a lot of food, okay, think about that. If you're in an opportunity where you can have a lot of animals, okay, what can you do with that? Think of every little thing you do. Do you have a very cold environment like I'm in and you need to have a lot of winter clothes on hand? Or are you in a very hot, muggy environment? Like, what can you do to protect yourself from that too? That's also another concern. I am pretty sure the National Weather Service had just talked about today that all 50 states hit below freezing. I'm not sure if that's accurate or not, but my goodness, we need to start, making sure you are prepared. And anyway, thank you for tuning in today. And I will try to get I'll try to get back on schedule to my once a week thing. And hopefully with moving and the holidays and everything else, it doesn't take over too bad. But I really do appreciate and thank you for watching this video, and my blessings to you and your family. Thanks for watching.